And welcome to Focus on Liberia. Welcome and welcome to this broadcast here. The Hour of Politics is the program. Ansony, Sieh, your host as always. And I am happy to say again, welcome. I have a guest. He is seated. He told me, Sonny, I'm prepared to make the case. Emmanuel Yartoe, we always call him Chairman. Emmanuel Yartoe is my guest in this edition of the Hour of Politics. You might be wondering, why is he here? Of course, it is an exclusive. When you have the chairman, it got to be an exclusive. But who is this chairman, by the way? He is a supporter of Alexander Belinda Cummings. The political season is kicking in, right? So he's here. And how will we take it all down? First, Emmanuel Yartoe is no longer with Dillon. We have some questions there. Number two, Emmanuel Yartoe is now supporting Team Cummings. Wow, I have some questions. Also, he says something that Boakai does not represent the future and change. Really? Omen Boakai, with all the experience, does not represent the future and change? I have some questions, and I know you do too. Well, let me now bore you. It is an exclusive with Chairman Emmanuel Yartoe. Chairman Yartoe, welcome to Focus on Liberia. I'm happy to have you, sir.
Welcome. I'm very thankful for the opportunity to express my desire to support perhaps the most competent person of this era in this election. Today, we'll discuss the vision that he has that suits all of us as Liberians. And we look forward to making the case that Cummings is the best person for the job.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Toe, for honoring our invitation here to come and get in the hot seat to talk about the hard-button political issues in the case of the upcoming election. So I know you are known very much in the Liberian community, but by tradition, you know, some people may not know you. Who is Emmanuel Yartoe in 1 minute, sir?
Well, I am from Riverside via Bassa. My father is from a place called Boakai, which is just outside of Buchanan. And my mother is a Zuta. Zuta is a leading client in Riverside, and I grew up in Riverside. I went to the Inland Mission, so I'm grounded in Riverside more. I currently live in Detroit, Michigan. I'm by profession, I'm a business and political consultant. Some folks are doctors and lawyers. I'm a consultant. That's how I make my bread and butter. But I am proud of my record. Most people may know me, but have not seen me, because I've always worked behind the scenes. My father always used to tell me that the record of a man shall speak for itself. I came to Detroit in 1998. I joined the Liberian Association. I helped develop the first community center. I helped organize the most successful community organization in the history of Liberian diaspora, where 300 persons could buy a community center and raise about $60,000 consistently during my tenure. I'm a ULA man. You have a Liberian Association. I participate in all events, all the matches, you name it. I've been part of it. I started the first newspaper, the Liberian Times, in this country as a business manager. I've always believed that money and whether it was newspapers or politics, all intertwined. So I always like to get in the money part of it. But above all, I'm a true patriot. I'm a guy who believes that Liberia, although in this present condition, should rise if you have the right leadership. I believe in sacrifice for nation. And I'm non-partisan at the moment. I believe that individuals can make a difference. That when placed in the right environment, they can make a difference. So throughout my life, I have supported causes not individual per se, but causes. And when you do that, you can move from one, you can shift from one individual to the next, as long as that cause is embodied in that individual. So I'm a community man. I love my country. I'll do anything for my country. I may not be the smartest person on the face of the earth, but I guarantee you, hard work, like James Brown said, is in my DNA. So I'm here and I'm privileged to be on your platform to at least articulate the vision of ABC, Alexander Cummings, as they call ABC. So I'm here. I'm a true-blooded Riverses man. I speak Riverses, I dream Riverses, and I talk Riverses.
Do you speak the native tongue of Riverses?
Yo, nigga.
Okay. All right. Thank you so very much, Mr. Yartoe, for providing the details about yourself. Let's get to it here quickly. Like I said earlier, you are more like a common name in the Liberian community here because of your involvement with the community in so many capacities. So let's get started. Of recent, Mr. Toe, it has become, common now. You were with Team Dillon. The name Emmanuel Yartoe was being mentioned in this quote-unquote popular senator's mouth. So there were many people who didn't know you before got to know you. But we also know that you are no longer with Team Dillon. What happened?
Nothing happened. Everything has a time and a purpose. I think every organization have a mission statement. Our mission statement ended. Elections ended. You got to be. Let me remind you though that Team Dillon was formed in 2019. I was in Nigeria on a business visit, and I received a call from Octavia Gilman, who is a very good mentee of mine and a very good friend of mine. And he says that, are you following up on the Liberian elections, upcoming elections? I said, yes. He said, well, I have a friend called Dillon who actually is running, and he would like to, I would like you to support him. So I said, well, let me do some research on Dillon. And I did my research. Arthur Dillon had the platform or the message for change. Remember, the folks, after 12 years of rule of UP, Liberians decided.
Chamato, you just said two things: platform and message.
Yes.
And you still believe that today, that he had a platform?
Oh, yeah, he's done remarkably well. Understand, the platform on which we ran was that we were going to expose, we are going to shine a light. So we came up with that idea of the light. Because Liberia as a whole is dark. Not literally, but the souls and spirits of our people are dark, especially those who rule us. And most of us do not know what goes on within the confines of our leadership, particularly the legislature and the executive and the judiciary to a certain extent. So Dillon promised that, look, the role of a senator is an advocate. I mean, making laws, yes, but we all in Montserrat County cannot go to the Senate. So we elect one person to represent us. Our desires and our aspirations are reflected in the budget or in the laws that person makes. And then that person monitors to see whether that law is passed. I think Dillon has done admirably well. He's shown the light. Dillon has shook the table like he normally would say. But understand, when you shake the table, something falls off of the table. Can he clean that mess? And that's where Alexander Cummings comes in, because normally the executive is a cleanup crew.
Yeah. So before we get to the Alexander piece, are you trying to suggest that Dillon created a mess that he's not able to clean up? I just
no. Dillon turned the light on. The mess was in the house. Dillon created the environment for people to see, and Dillon
to see the mess.
Correct. So the mess is there. So
and you think he's not part of the mess?
Well, let me tell you. So let's go to your previous question of where have we come? Look, I'm a political animal. I've said it, and I called a meeting on the 19th of July in which I expressed my desire that my tenure as chair had come to an end. That I was no longer going to be chair because the purpose and the mission for which we set up in 2019 had come to an end.
Which
That was to elect and re-elect Dillon.
Okay.
We kept 6 months because during the campaign, Dillon visited the Zogos in Central Monrovia. And it touched our hearts. And the friends of Dillon leadership came and said, look, Senator, why do we make a part of our platform the need to build a permanent housing for our Zogos? So we came up and we incorporated the Zogo Center. We, in the Friends of Dillon, funded the purchase or the renting of it, the renovation of that center. And I said in my resignation, which was published on our listserv, and we call a Zoom meeting like we always do. And I said, look, I'm not a project-based person. I'm a guy who is a politician. I'm not a project-based person. So I would like for somebody else to take on the role. And as of July, we transitioned into a project-based, the Friends of Dillon. Dillon has said to us, in revealing terms that he wanted to be a senator. He had absolutely no need, no intention of going beyond the senatorial role. And that ended the mission for which we were set up to elect him.
Mr. Todd, that is fair enough. We have a lot to cover, especially on Cummings and also why Cummings over Boakai. So let's finish with the Dillon aspect. You became the chairman. Your mission was to elect Dillon. That has been done. Few unanswered questions there. Our law requires that after a campaign, that campaign should be able to file a report with the National Election Commission. You were the chairman for the diaspora. Was a campaign finance report filed with the Election Commission? Do you know?
You're bargaining the wrong tree. I was just the chair of one auxiliary arm of the Friends of the Dillon campaign. Dillon campaign had more than 20 arms. What we did though, we filed our report for the campaign and with our membership. Remember now, I don't think any friendship group in the diaspora has been more transparent than we have been. If you were part of the Friends of Dillon and you give a dime, except in cases where you say you didn't want your name to be revealed, we publish on a progressive basis every month a report.
And are those reports available for folks like all in the media to have access or to see?
It's available for folks like you to see.
Yeah, will you be able to share? I put you on record here. Will you be able to share a copy with Focus on Liberia?
Redacting the points of those who say that they don't want to be revealed. Yes, there's no reason why we can't. So our report was sent. And I think the purpose for which was set up, let me tell you something though. The Friends of Dillon did something nobody else has ever done.
Right. Which is?
The primary objective was not only to have him elected, but how do you have him elected? We mobilized not only the resources, but the strategy. And we adopted what we call the adopting a polling center. Most campaigns in Africa is either won through the lack of through mobilization on elections day and the counting of the ballot. We were able to count our ballot. We hire more than 5,200 persons. All of the monies generated from August all the way to December was purposefully for that watching of that campaign. We did something.
You care to share with us how much total you raised, Dillon diaspora team, you raised that you sent to Liberia? You care to share that?
I will leave that to the senator and the team on board. If they want to divulge it, is that prerogative?
Why you don't want to do that, Mr. Chairman? You believe in transparency, isn't it? That's public funds.
But it's a public fund, but it's a private public fund, because understand, if you are Friends of Dillon and you contribute a dime, you had a report. We had
you are carrying on a public exercise, isn't it?
And we did public. So if it's on our Zoom, if it's on our page and you haven't gone there, it's their prerogative. Remember now, it's an open forum. We had about 1,000 persons that have 1,000 legs. So it is we did what we were required to do is make it public. And if you went, and We also have a public Zoom where every single month we had a Zoom where we publish every single report. How many people paid, those who wanted to be called, how much was collected, for what it was used for, all of those. So they're public, they're already public. If you're asking me to go beyond what is required by my membership, then it's a separate issue.
All right. Mr. Toh, let me progress. Let's transition a little bit. Folks in cyberspace, you are watching the Hour of Politics here. I focus on Liberia. I'm Ansony here hosting. I have the honor to be joined by Mr. Emmanuel Yartoe as my guest in this exclusive interview with him. He is supporting Alexander Benedict Cummings. He has made it public, and that is why he is here. But he is coming from Team Dillon, and we wanted to get some answers questions we felt that he needed to address. Mr. Toh, you supported Dillon. You were not a member of the Liberty Party. You are supporting Alexander Benedict Cummings, and you are not a member of the ANC. And you made it clear to me, for you, you are about promoting individuals that you trust. My question, how do you square that with the idea that let us promote institutions instead of following individuals? You want to address that, sir?
Oh, very well. Institutional promotion is part of what I am. You're asking me for my membership in a political party, which I have not gotten around to. I was never a part of Liberty Party. Understand, even with the CPP collaborating, everybody is separate. The CPP is not a political party. It's a collection of collaborating parties. Everybody still maintained their own separate bylaws as long as it does not conflict with the CPP law. Look, I'm saying to you, I left CDC for a reason. That in Liberia, most, if not all, the political parties are centered around individual. Let's be frank. If George were to leave CDC today, that would be the end of CDC. Like Charles Hill left NPP. Has NPP won any elections on their own? No. I'm saying to you, we promote the institutions by putting the right people in. And I believe that as we have justification for supporting somebody, then it makes sense to say, look, I want to be an ANC. My scope of service is very narrow. I'm here to help Cummings highlight some of the problems he have in terms of outreach. That's why I'm coming in the outreach capacity. I'm here to let people know that he is the best person for the job. At a certain point, I'm a candidate myself in Riverside. I've declared my intent to join a political party because that has been my preference. Will I join ANC? It's yet to be seen. I'm saying I'm just my foot is just in the door. Okay. I got to go in the room and see what's in the room before I can join. I'm not joining a party because somebody else joins it.
Apparently, there's this common saying, our old people would say, if a snail bites you before you see a snail, you try to run away. Is that a scenario, or are you just trying to be careful?
Yeah, no, not only being careful is that, experiences teach a whole lot. That when I joined CDC in 2012, I thought we were a party that was grounded in truth, that was grounded in principle. But I left 2014 because everything that we were saying in public was never done in private, down to even the elections of a simple slate for the candidacy for the senatorial elections in 2014. I could never join something that I can't defend. And I'm not going to join an individual that I can't protect. That's why you see me today. I'm coming, even when my senator that I supported is leaning, he has not decided, towards somebody else. I'm as independent as I can be to say, look, I will do what is right for me and my family.
All right. Thank you so very much, Mr. Toh. We will now be transitioning into your support for Cummings. I will ask some questions, and you have to tell me what plans that you see coming, articulating that convince you, for which you are on board. We will get to that. But before we do that, let our audience here know. Focus on Liberia is conducting an opinion poll based on the issues our pool is that we are trying to decide or help you, the audience or the Liberian people, to decide who should be the opposition candidate from the CPP. So we're saying deciding Liberia's opposition candidate from the CPP. We know there are two persons, Vice President Joseph Boakai and Alexander Benande Cummings are the people who are opting for the CPP nomination. So in this opinion pool, I have the link here in the live feed here. If you are on YouTube, here is the link. If you are on Facebook, here is the link. Go to that link and participate. We are asking the question, who you think will do a better job on the economy, on healthcare, on agriculture, on security, everything. Go and participate in that pool. Again, find this link if you are on Facebook, find this link if you are on YouTube, and participate. Subsequently, we will be able to share the result. This is a democracy. We, the citizens, must participate for the democracy to be what we want it to be. Mr. Toe, let me come back to you. This is how we'll be deciding the fate of Mr. Cummings that you are supporting. So let's get to it. How did you get to Team Cummings?
Well, like I said, after we ended our tenure as chair, we all look back onto 2017 and say, why didn't we take sides? I was one of those persons after the 2014 elections. I just became disenchanted. Although all of my savings are split every single month to support causes in Liberia, the burden of helping our people who have no hope was tedious on my family. But I never participated in the 2017 elections. I didn't support, I was not in a political party, and never supported. But what I gathered was that the folks wanted change in Liberia. And they opted for George Weah because he was the nearest in proximity. They knew him without knowing what he stood for. He never even offered a platform, or articulate a platform. But when you're desperate and you're drowning, you try to get your hold on the familiar things. And they elected George Weah. Fast forward in 2019 and 2020, they also said they want to change. And we became active, and the rest is history. For the first time in the history of the diaspora, we mobilized from various angles, from whether it was Europe or Asia, or was it America or North America in particular. We mobilized resources, but we mobilized our people to make themselves believe that we do have a voice, and that voice. And from the Dillon campaign, I realized that we do have a voice in the diaspora, and we had to move on. When we came to the conclusion that Team Dillon was going to be what it is, we had to make a choice, and we have asked ourselves. I reflect upon myself and I ask, if 2023 election comes up, and the 6 years that person will occupy, what kind of Liberia do I want in 2029, December 31st? A Cummings Liberia or a Boakai's Liberia? I know, and you know, that the CPP's candidate will perhaps have the greater chance of defeating President Weah than any other independent or third party. And I felt to myself that I owe not only to my family, but to the movement we built, to continue the idea of change. And I know Boakai very well. Since 2009, I brought Boakai as a guest to Detroit. He stayed with us for about 5 days. So I know him. I've interacted with him and his family. But it is not about friendship. It is about who has the best chance of moving us forward. I believe that we want change in 2023, and that the platform and the message of change will continue. So it was not hard for me to say, look, since I want to be involved, let me see who's the best person. And the name Cummings kept coming up. I think that between the both person, you're not going to be in a ballot. I'm not going to be in a ballot. Jesus Christ is not going to be ballot. It will be Cummings versus Boakai in the CPP convention. So I believe that it was the right decision. After I settled on, pray about it, talk to my family, talk to friends, Cummings was the best choice. And it was very easy to join Team Cummings.
All right. Mr. Toll, usually before you support a candidate, you have to do yourself the due diligence. You have to do your research. You got to know this person. You said that when Octavia Gaiman had, told you about Dillon, you said, well, I will look him up and see who he actually is. And you did your research, you said you were convinced that, he was a guy, so you supported him. Did you do similar research before coming to Team Cummings or on Cummings?
Oh man, I did more research than I did with even Dillon. Dillon, I had to just go back because understand they're two separate positions. Mm-hmm. Dillon was an advocate, so all I had to do was go back to tips of Dillon advocating for causes. But as an executive, I had to go and do more research. What has this guy done? There's a common saying: to whom much is given, much is required. Mm-hmm. If you have succeeded in life, what have you done for your people? When I went back and I said to myself that Cummings have assisted almost over 2,000 exams, that he's donated over $170,000 to scholarships, the African Methodist University. He gave a generator to Boakai, Washington Institute. I mean, he provided over $500,000 worth of medical supplies.
Mr. Toll, may I hold you there? Before we get to, hold on, Mr. Toll, let me do this. Sorry if I'm interrupting you, but I just want to know, we'll give you the opportunity to tell us who the person Cummings is. Who do you know him to be as an individual before talking about, what he has been doing, the assistance or contribution he has been making? Who is this Cummings? Tell us.
Well, you know what? I say he's a businessman currently. He's a retired VP from Coca-Cola International. He's a politician because now he's in the political realm. He has many investments. But what drew me to me is that philanthropist of Cummings, who Cummings actually is. And that's why I go back to saying, look, he has all of these accolades. I mean, he was vice president. He has finance degree. He has you can have all of those things. So it means absolutely nothing if you can't give back. So giving back, and I ask him, and I match him against those who are currently in the ring, giving their position. How have they given back? And I just come to the conclusion that he's giving back more. And
yeah, so expertise. Hold on, Mr. Toll. This is the information that you send me, so that during this show, I can display. This is upon your request. So looking at who he is here, can you go line by line, if it is possible, and tell us why you felt the need that Liberians needed or need to see this that you sent to me to show? Go ahead.
First thing will be simple. Is it bred and born in Liberia? Mm-hmm. And the answer was yes. Is he a political leader of a party? It's yes. Does he have a foundation that gave back? It's yes. He has investment firm that help develop businesses. He is a businessman, but I keep telling you, besides being a politician, he's a philanthropist. And he has all of the other accolades. Cummings is a package that every mother will want to have. He's very polite. It's not in the bio. Cummings is very focused. So, I have a friend of mine from Eula, and he called me 2 weeks ago, and he said, Emmanuel, I hear you joined Cummings. But I know Cummings from Sinker. He said, let me tell you something. He's my playing buddy. He said Cummings used to go to the playground, and his guy would take books with him. He's just a quiet kid that just studied. Cummings came from a midwife and a market woman background. Cummings' mother was a seamstress, or tailor, as you call it. His father was a teacher and a pastor. I mean, he didn't come. My father was an engineer, so I was blessed with some things that most kids on the streets didn't have. But Cummings struggled. But Cummings was embodied in that belief that although our parents were not better, they gave us the opportunity to be better. And all we had to do was to study and be honest to ourselves, so that when the chances and the opportunity is given to us, we'll take advantage of it. And Cummings is one of those guys that was very focused, and he was very, very goal oriented. So that is the kind of character we're looking for now. So I see Cummings, I see myself, and I see Cummings. I say, yes, our parents, although they were poor, their vision lives on. But today in Liberia, our kids are suffering. Most of our kids, girls between the age of 10 and 15, are prostituting themselves. Our boys have become beggars. They're at the age of 5, instead of them studying, they have no opportunity. The opportunity we had kind of leave them behind. So I'm saying that Kumi is a package for us at this time. He speaks to the generation and his experiences. And I'll elaborate on that more when you come up. You know,
Yeah, Mr. To, let's do this. You're just explaining these things. Some people are hearing them for the first time. And Cummings has been around a little while now. I can say that since 2017 to this time, almost 4 years. So that's a very long time. And he came in 18 months. And while we continue to hear, oh, Cummings is new, he just come in, and people continue to say there's not much that's known about him. Well, what is happening here? What is missing here? Because the Cummings you're explaining to us here, people don't know that. So why is it that people don't know these Cummings that you're telling us about?
You know, I'm a firm believer because of what I do in the marketability of certain skill set. Like Coca-Cola, they did a wonderful. Coke is the only product on the face of the earth that every villager, every hamlet can tell you the symbol of Coke. It's because they've done a wonderful job marketing that product. I think when you transition from purely business to politics, sometimes it's a gray area that you must understand, and then the people you surround yourself with also have to understand it. And look at the character of Comey. He's not a guy who, like President Weah, will give you something, a gift, and then he will say, "Oh, by the way, Anthony, that gift I gave you the other day." So I think it is our responsibility as we move on to this CPP convention to let people know. Do you know that coming during Ebola, in principle, Coca-Cola, and $50,000 was donated on behalf of Coca-Cola? Do you know that Comey has renovated 17 schools in Liberia? Okay. He's provided $6 million in his macro loan. People don't know of those things. I think it's a new dynamism that we will go out there and say, look, what is this gone county league? Comey has always donated to the county league. He gave $4,000 to the Maryland County Development Sports Development Council for the county meet. Those are all of the things that we from now on will say, this is a man that is not only competent managerial wise, but he's a kind-hearted person. When he gave those things, they don't broadcast it enough. So if you don't do it, oh man, they have a saying in our vernaculars, whether you're in San or on Basel, that the drummer that does not beat his own drum, nobody will hear the tune of that drum. It has to be beaten by you and not by the guy next door. So I think Kumi realizes as a reserve as he is, he needs to let people know what he has done. Because the question will come up, what have you done? And I'll say, he's promoted women affairs. He's helped schools.
Mr. To, you've been involved with this. To your credit, you sold Dillon to the diaspora, and the diaspora supported Dillon, the guy is a senator, for 9 years now. What story do you think that will sell better and best for Cummings? His story has been a former Coca-Cola executive, maybe the guy that has money, or the ordinary citizen like any of us who grew up from wherever he grew up from. What story you think needs to be sold to the Liberian people for him to be accepted widely?
Liberians are no different from Americans or Chinese. Every campaign must have a buzzword. In the case of Dillon, we call the light. The light was against darkness.
Mm-hmm.
The light was there to shine upon the ills. And we switched the light on and we shook the table. This election will be about change, but what kind of change? We're saying that we need to clean up the mess. So it would be clean hands. But understand, oh man, you can't use dirt to clean dirt. Somebody who has not involved himself in the system that's corrupt. Understand, no system in Liberia has worked for the last 100 years. So by you participating in a dysfunctional system, it's like a truck driver that has a license to drive, gets on the freeway, and every time he enters that freeway, he has an accident because he has a driver license. Is that the kind of driver you want? Or a guy who's a helicopter pilot who never has accident, but he has a sense of driving and said, look, driving is driving. Come hold this truck. Let me just train you. And Cummings has been trained for the last 4 years. And I believe the idea of somebody who's clean, whose activities is not derived, or his wealth and his successes was not derived from government. That message is resigned because they want change. Change from what? Change from the ills, change from the darkness, change from the dirt that is permeating in our system. I think when we craft that platform of clean hands, and then when you couple that with his exemplary skill set in managing, then you will see that the message will be clear. Whether you're in Sano or you're in Lofa, clean can clean dirt, but dirt cannot clean dirt.
All right. Let's come to plans. You know, if you don't have a plan, or if you don't plan, you plan to fail, right? That's how they say it. Have you seen a Cummings plan for Liberia?
Oh, yes. Cummings has a detailed plan.
So talk to me about that plan.
Let's start off. The first thing we must do, why are we the way we are? Until we answer that question, we have only 5 million or so people. We have tremendous resources. But why are we the way we are that nothing sticks? It is because very few people have decided to embezzle, to misappropriate the little that we have. And it doesn't go around. Our Achilles heel has two parts to it. Part one is the leadership. And part two is a system that we are all used to, a bad system. I think the first thing that Cummings must do is to combat corruption. That clean hand will give an ability to combat corruption. I think what do you do? We must set up a court that we propose on Madam Salif and on Boakai that was never done. We must have a court dedicated to corruption. When you are accused of a crime, you are recused from your job and you are adjudicated through the court of competent jurisdiction. I think that court should be fast tracked so that it is dedicated. For instance, there are malfeasance in the National Port Authority and I will build Trawe. There's been no investigation. We have the anti-corruption organization that is toothless. I think a court dedicated and a true independence, but the commitment must come from the president. So I think Cummings' anti-corruption plan is realistic because he has the clean hands to support that plan.
So the plan of anti-corruption that you're talking about that Cummings has, where is it? How many Liberians know about it? And why don't many Liberians know about it?
Because one thing about us, we don't read. I think Cummings had a platform from 2017. Is that a new platform?
Okay.
But our people don't read. And I think the Cummings campaign dropped the ball because when you have almost 67% of the people are elected, you got to communicate with them in the vernacular.
See? So tell me, I want to understand, is it the problem with the people being elected that you just said, or the team not doing a better job communicating with the people? The very people you're talking about, you sold Dillon to them and they bought Dillon. So electricity may not necessarily be the problem yet. Do you agree?
No, it was not a problem. The outreach was not sufficient enough to get those people. You can't speak Chinese to a Japanese man. If the guy is illiterate and he's a Basolian, you try to get to him in the language that he understands. I think they didn't do enough of an effort to articulate that vision through those vernaculars, and that's what we did with Dillon that was very effective. Everybody in Montserrat County had a clear-cut knowledge of what Dillon stood for. And I think Cummings needs to go out there and make the case himself more than he did.
Is there a strategy this time? Do you know if the coming team has learned from that which you're saying? And do they have a strategy and an approach on this?
Oh, absolutely. If you saw just in the last 3 weeks, Cummings has spoken out more than any of the four parties are standard bearer. Cummings has now realized that if he's to fight that battle, he has to do that battle but for the lead. We can follow, we can augment whatever he does, but he has to demonstrate that he will lead. And if you look at the last 2 weeks, he's been constantly in the press. He's addressed issue. And I think he just got, he just left bombing and Cape Town. He is going to the people. And I think the more you do, the better it is, because when election time comes around, the people will say, we don't know you, because what does knowledge mean? You have a sitting vice president, Ansony, who by nature in any Liberian village, there are only about 4 or 5 positions that they know. They might know the president, they might know who the vice president is, they might know who the superintendent is, and the commissioner, and maybe the paramount chief and the clan chief. So Boakai has left office since 2017. Has he gone to Sino? All those people were replaced by George Weah. So this knowledge about his popularity is not there anymore, because nobody in Sino County has benefited from UP involvement in that county for 4 years. Everybody now, their paychecks comes from CDC. So I think the more we go out there, the perception, that survey will shift to our side. And that will be the strength of Cummings if he can go to all 73 districts and make the point of clean hands and the platform of creating jobs.
Mr. Toh, let me go back to the point you made that he's going from place to place, he's visible in the counties. There's one thing to just show up. Hey, I'm Cummings, and I asked you earlier about strategy, and you earlier talked about, hey, you have to speak to the people to their level, maybe in their vernacular. Have you listened to any of Cummings' speeches there in any of those counties? And do you believe the message is resonating? Are the people understanding him?
I can see the difference between 2017 and right now. I think Cummings has realized that he must reduce the message into sellable talking points. Okay, what may affect somebody in bombing may not necessarily affect somebody in Riverside or Grand Gila. You got to be able to incorporate their concerns. For instance, bombing does not have any mining concessions, but if you go to Grand Gila, the people are dissatisfied because of these bogus concessions that were signed through the Putu Mountain that they've never benefited from. If you go to Nima and Bassa and Bong, they've never benefited from those minerals. So how will a Cummings administration be different from any other administration? You know, with the work I do, I am blessed to sit at a corporate table where millions of dollars are discussed. And I see how people negotiate, especially as an African person. That I am the only African person in most of those rooms. And I learn from those people. And I ask myself, I say, if Cummings, who has negotiated millions and billions in business plans and in concessions, if he was at the table when Mattel signed that $800 million contract instead of Simon Toy, who has never been to a boardroom in his whole life until he went to Madam Salif, who do you think that Mattel will be afraid of? Our government today, you see, they're taking pictures. They're only satisfied to be seen, taking pictures. Cummings will be focused on what is in that deal that will bless, that will benefit my people the most. And that is the reason why Cummings is the best person, because he has that experience. Mind you, our economy runs around extractive industry. Our whole revenue base is less than 300 million in actual collection. So if you subtract the mining industry, you subtract the fishery, or you subtract the logging industry, tell me, what can we produce in Liberia that will benefit us? So if you have a guy who has a business experience in negotiation, you will see how it will benefit Liberia in the short term, instead of saying, oh, I will negotiate, and you have no knowledge of how the deals are made.
Thank you, Mr. Toh. Let's come to some political practicality here. You talk about his plan briefly, anti-corruption stance and plan that he has and all that, right? But he may have this brilliant plan. I'm a fan of plan. If he can win, that plan will be somewhere just as the first plans went somewhere that we never even knew. So the question is Cummings a winnable candidate? First of all, in the CPP? If so, what is the path?
Oh, it's an easy path. Oh man, it's a very easy path. That's the reason why the other side is floating this idea of block voting, because they don't know what actually block voting is. But the CPP arrangement is very clear that you have an equal collaboration of 4 political parties, that those political parties must each submit 310 delegates. Those delegates must come from 73 districts, 3 per district, okay? 5 per county. And then the 15 delegates must also come from the EC, the Executive Council of the CPP membership. So if you add all, you have 1,240. I'm saying to you, in spite of the fact that ALP has pledged, I mean, without any form of process, their delegates to Boakai, I believe that when a case is made to each of these delegates, that we will ultimately get 50 plus 1. And that's the reason why people like us are saying popularity matters, but our first action is to go to the convention and win the hearts of those delegates. I think Cummings is good at winning people's hearts because he has a plan. The other side does not have a plan. All they want to do is inherit a position that George Weah will vacate. I'm saying to you that I'm confident that as of next June or July, when the convention should have been held, that Cummings will be the ultimate candidate for the CPP.
Mr. Toh, I mean, I like you use the word convention, but if you look in the CPP framework, right, they have primary there. They talk about primary. Do you see the possibility of primary in the CPP at all?
But as the primary I'm talking about, there will be all these delegates. So CPP has 3 phases. Phase 1 is consensus, where all 4 political parties go into a room, the leadership, and they say that all must agree that one person should be the president. If one person dissents, that throws it off, and it ends on the 30th of November. Then we get in January 1st, we get what we call the voter perception survey, VPS. People want to go county by county. A firm will be hired that is outside firm, either the US or Britain, wherever they hire the firm from. That firm will make an informed survey that says on popularity. But remember now, it still will not be determining the convention, where the delegates must vote on the candidate. That's the last phase, and that will be 6 months after that process. And I'm saying to you, that VPS just informs. It is not going to determine who is. The determiner will be a 50 plus 1 simple vote of the 1,240 delegates that will be casting the ballot. It is in the framework. And let me tell you something that I really admire and really why I read John Cummings. I was one of those people that believe that Cummings made a mistake. He should have joined the CPP. That a collaboration was never a good thing for Liberia. That is the reason why Madam Sieh in 29 proposed a merger. Collaborations never stay. Look at CDC now. They're fighting among themselves. When you merge, you bring everything. You can't have a roommate that is have a different agenda than yours. I asked Cummings before I joined on. I said, Cummings, why don't you just leave? You see, Emmanuel, let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have in this country is people do not keep their word. You say, forget about what may other have done. I signed on that document saying that I will go to a convention, and if I lose, I will support the winner. And I'm willing to honor that. That was perhaps the overriding reason why I joined Cummings. Because for the first time, I looked him in the face, one-on-one, and I believed that what he was telling me came from the heart. And he said, Emmanuel, if Omen Boakai wins, I will support him 100%. But I think I owe it to my party and the party leader to contest for the position. I owe it to Liberia. I have a vision that's separate from his.
And you think he's not mistaken, Mr. Toh?
Oh, absolutely not. He's not. I'm telling you, it's a delegate system that we have enough assurances on our platform that will convince the delegate that when you put these two side by side, that he's the best choice that that can defeat we are, because it'll be message versus the lack of change. Understand, Boakai does not have
so you think the black voting process would not be applied in this case?
Oh, absolutely not. This will be a straight vote. We'll go to a convention, and that's why the CPP delegate in 6.1 section 6.1 says that it must be by the delegates 1,200, and it's already stipulated. Nobody can change that. There was no proposal for block voting or any other voting. It says that these delegates must determine through a simple majority who is the candidate. But let me tell you what is the beauty of it. And it's laughable when people in that CPP arrangement, they even gave each party the right to select their own delegates. So if you in ALP, you select your mom, you select your sister, your dog, your cat, everybody that you select. If you tell me that somebody else will influence them against your will, that tells me one thing, that you have never been good to them.
But Mr. Toh, the framework also provide room for a constituent member to walk away. One is that if that party is being consistently maligned, attacked by any constituent member, that member can walk away. Have you not seen that in the CPP being done to any member in the CPP?
Oh man, then we're not in politics. We're in in the church have disagreement.
Okay.
Understand that if you walk away from the CPP arrangement deliberately, you will be banned from featuring a candidate. You can walk away, but you won't feature a candidate. And let me tell you something. This politics. I, as a politician, must highlight the positive of my candidate. If Cummings cannot stand criticism, what will happen when he challenges George Weah to have all the money? So I'm not deterred by criticism of Cummings. Cummings is a man. He understands that he's in a terrain that is not business, where if you are the vice president, people, if you give an order, they stick to that order. Cummings has had more than 5 years of experience, and he's not complaining. Cummings has said to me, when he brought me on board, that he will stick it to the end. He is going all the way to the convention, and he will then honor the convention's result. If Boakai is declared the winner that day, Cummings will say, Ome Boakai will support you. If Cummings is the winner, we will then call a reconciliation meeting, and we will say that, look, the CPP now has a candidate. Let us all coalesce behind that person, and let's move forward to George Weah. But if you think that this stuff we're doing among each other is something compared to what George Weah is going to do to us, then you should be leaving. But Cummings is not going to leave. There's nothing that has been done to him warranting him leaving from the CPP.
Mr. Toh, has Cummings left the window open for the vice presidential slot? Should that be offered or be made available?
Oh man, the president who win the CPP convention has the right to select their own vice president. It will be left up to Cummings to decide whether he wants to take it. My job is to take Cummings to the convention and make sure that he wins the convention. As to whether Cummings is going to take the vice president slot, it has not crossed my mind, and I don't think Cummings, as a businessman, will succeed against Pepsi. Say that he's going to go to a market trying to be number 2 in that market. Cummings' determination is to be the head. He has the message, he has the skill set, he has experience to make us a better country. So no, when the time comes, then Cummings, if you ask my advice, then at that time I'll give it. But right now we are going all the way to convention.
So, Mr. Toh, you are supporting Mr. Cummings for the presidency of Liberia. Why not Mr. Boakai? What is it with Boakai that is not good enough for which you are not supporting him, even though you know him like you stated here?
Well, because I know him. Let me tell you the rule of a vice president. It is very clear in the Constitution. Okay, he is the presiding person in the Senate, but he's also senior advisor, a person who's supposed to be at every cabinet meeting. You understand that? God tells me that, oh, I squandered, those are harsh words from his own mouth, my opportunity to make you better. Look, let me tell you something, old man. My first time riding in a canoe was in 1977 when my mom decided to take me from Monrovia and send me to River Cess to go to the Inland Mission School. We arrived at the Timo River around about 6 o'clock, which was getting dark. And the fear, hearing that that river is a needy place, to get in a canoe, to go across. But you know what my mom sent me there? Inland Mission was perhaps one of the best schools that Liberia ever had. Her dream was, if you are educated, you will do better than I have done. That dream, when you graduated from LU or Capital, even Booker T. Washington, you were guaranteed 9.5 in 10 times to make a living off of your own sweat. When you go to Monrovia today, we have a lot of graduates that have no jobs. Their hopes have been dashed. And we say to you, the guy who presided over that, the guy who served in both houses, where 64 of the 68 concessions was absolutely bogus, the guy who pushed me in the water cannot be the person to rescue me. My people, we have given Boakai more than he's giving us. We're giving him 12 years, where everything was paid for. We pay for his food, we pay for his transportation, we pay for his lodging. We gave him extra money to travel, which he didn't do. I'm saying to the old man, be gracious enough. Your time has expired, and you need to give the next generation a chance. And this generation needs somebody that understands business. This generation needs somebody that understands the international complexities that deprive us as Liberians. Third word, I think that Boakai has lost his ability to rule. And I think, if the guy tell me he squandered his opportunity, I don't think, and that was 12 years, and he's asking for 6 years, I can't believe him that he will make my life better. So I think we'll try somebody else.
All right, Mr. Toll, let me ask my final two questions. We will take a break and then we'll bring in our callers. Callers, it's about time to call. The number to call is in the strolling text below. That number is right there in the strolling text below. Please call and we will give you the opportunity to ask your questions and also make your comment. Mr. Toll, my final two questions before we take a break and bring in the calls after that. The callers after that. Vice presidents tend to make a good president. For example, Joe Biden, you will agree, I believe you are a Democrat, you subscribe to Democratic political philosophy. He's doing well. He was a vice president. John McAfee, he was one of the greatest things that ever happened to the people of Tanzania, you will agree. Some people argue in Liberia, I don't agree with them, that Talbot was a good vice president. I have my reason why I think he was not. He had his family occupying the entire government. That's just one reason. Why you think Joe Boakai cannot make a good vice president when others vice president have done? Question number one. And the last question is, Joe Boakai supporters see him as Mr. Clean. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, let me take the last question first. Mr. Clean, depends what clean means. When a guy, I ask myself, when the issue of the Special Operations Fund came up in the Senate, why didn't UP speak up? And I know why they didn't speak up, because I went back to the 2014 budget all the way to 2017 budget. And that in those budgets, every time Boakai took over $200,000 in special operations. So how can you then say you condemned the Senate for monies you've taken yourself in the past? I look in that budget and I see that there were domestic travel allocations to Boakai every single year. And I ask myself, did Boakai ever go to Grand Jide? In 5 years, how many times did he go to Grand Jide when he was giving money? Did he ever go to River Cess? Only when the campaign time came up is he went to visit those countries. Well, I'm saying to you, man, we've given enough time to President Boakai. I think it is incumbent upon us to look forward. My father used to say, a successful fisherman does not cast the net behind the boat. It's always in front. If you're a crewman or you're a Bassa crewman like we are, we know that we will go to fish. We're casting our net ahead of us. We're saying to you, we need to defeat. We are in 2023 like we did in 2020 and 2019. We decimated the machinery that CDC had. In order to do that, we must have a clear message. And the messenger is important because you can't tell George that you're corrupt when you say that you had a messy educational system, when you say you had a messy healthcare system. You can tell George that you're corrupt because guess what? I'm a rich man. I have given back to this country. I have not gotten a dime. Every house that I built is because of my own sweat. Then when he tells me that he can do it, then I can believe it. But a guy who has lived in government all his life, who's go back to 2005 declaration, and you will see Boakai's declaration that his income for 2005 was only a loan. He's been borrowing all his life. A loan of $5,000 from a friend. That's his income. A guy who was agriculture minister. Now he's still borrowing. Mind you, he's taking over $2 million in budget every single year for 12 years. And he's still borrowing from the bank. Is that the kind of guy you think will negotiate with China Union for you? Is that the kind of guy?
Mr. Toy, even the rich people, billionaires, also take credit from banks. So
no, I borrow, but guess what happens? If I'm retired at my age of 75, honestly, he's not. He doesn't run a business. Rich people borrow not for themselves; they borrow for entrepreneurship. Okay, Trump borrowed money not for himself. He borrowed for his business. How many businesses does Boakai have that's employing people? How many employees does he have? I'm saying to you, when you borrow money for farming, when you have more than $1 million every year allocated to that office that you can spend at will.
Our understanding is that Mr. Boakai has a farm.
Well,
according to George Lobo, that Boakai has a farm.
But George Lobo, how many people is supporting on that farm? How many employees he have? I'm saying to you that Cummings has donated $6 million to Marco Loan, and that Marco Loan have a life now that most of the women now can now go and feed their children. Ask Boakai, his foundation, what is he doing for Corona? Cummings just gave $150,000. So ask him. Direct comparison. We're trying to put forward the best candidate. And after the convention, if Boakai wins, we will support him. If Cummings wins, which I believe he will, because our message is clear. We want clean hands. We want non-participation in the corrupt system that has deprived our people of a good living. We want somebody new.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Toe. At this time, folks, we will take a short break. The number to call is right there on the screen. Please, this is the number you need to call. And if you are calling any other number, make sure it is the WhatsApp number. But the number to call is the number on the screen, 605-313-6004. Enter the code 791-403#, and you will get in line. After the break, we will start taking your calls right now, and we'll be right back.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
I am Ansony Sieh, and the number to call is right there on the screen. And also, we want to remind you, Focus on Liberia is conducting an opinion poll. That is the link right there. Go to that link, click, and participate. We are conducting an opinion poll based on the issue of healthcare, education, the rule of law, everything else, the economy, the security sector. Go to that link and tell us who can better handle all those sectors in your opinion and can become the best president for Liberia. And this is between Ambassador Joseph Yeman Boakai and Alexander Belande Cummings. We are pulling two individuals to represent the CPP based on the issue. So participate. We don't have callers yet. Again, folks, let me put the number on the screen. That is the number that you need to call. Again, that number is 605-313-6004. Also, 791-403 pound is the code to enter, and you will be given the opportunity to participate. I think we have a caller from our WhatsApp number here. Caller, your name and where you joining us from?
Oh, my name is George Widow, and I'm calling from Australia.
Okay, Mr. Widow, go ahead. You have a minute, sir.
Thank you so much. Look, I have a concern here, and my concern has to do with your studio guest. We understand that he sold Dillon to us, and so we can see what has been happening. Dillon is a flop, and I've heard as well that he and Dillon has fallen apart. How can he now assure us that he's not selling another flop to us? Can he address my concern, please?
Thank you so very much. Mr. Toa, you want to handle that quickly?
But the premise on which he's asking a question is a flaw by itself. Dillon, I've said, maybe he didn't listen. Dillon is perhaps the only senator in the Republic of Liberia that have said exactly what and done exactly what he said. Dillon said during the campaign he was not going to give nobody money. He didn't build no house. His job was solely to turn the lights on. He's done that admirably. Dillon said, I will shake the table. I will let you know what's going on. So I don't know what kind of flaw he's talking about. And I've said my involvement with Dillon was to have him elected. I'm not a permanent position. I am a guy who actually has a task ahead, perform that tasks. I'm with Cummings till the primary. I'm a candidate myself in River says. I'm not going to be around after Cummings is elected CPP candidate. I'll be doing my own campaign. So if you think that I was a permanent member of Dillon, then you're mistaken. My job, if you knew what the Friends of Dillon stood for, that's a problem with Liberians. You don't know the purpose for which stuff is crafted. Our job was to have him elected and re-elected. That job is done. My people, I'm moving on. I'm saying to you that Dillon is not our problem. Dillon has done his job. He continues to do his job. Dillon has spoken on issues that you didn't need. You didn't know.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Toa. We have another caller. Sorry to cut you off there, but let's take this caller. Caller, your name and where you joining us from?
Hey, Ansony, this Lofa Jewelry is calling from Raleigh, North Carolina. How you doing, bro?
Hey, Lofa, it's good to hear from you. Let hear you.
Well, thank you. And thanks to Mr. Yartoe in the studio there for actually speaking to the issues that is more concerning to Liberians. I just want to quickly throw this in there. By the way, Focus on Liberia is operated by another permanent Liberian like yourself, Ansony, Sieh. So to hear I am Dennis Jai in the back, I think it should be more. We are focused on Liberia, not Dennis Jai. I just have to say that on behalf of my big brother Ansony Sieh. Now let's get to the actual issue here.
Okay.
Let's be honest here. I heard Mr. Yartoe. He spoke on several things. But one thing that I took away from what Mr. Yartoe said tonight, and then I'll pose my question to him, is the fact that Cummings is willing to unite forces, not in his individual interest, but in the interest of Liberia. Where did I gather this fight from when he made the statement that even if I don't win, I am willing to support the leader of the CPP? That tells you that he's willing. It's not in his individual interest. And like those on the other side, Uncle Boakai, have not made that commitment. Several interviews, he refused to make that commitment. He will always dodge it. But when you ask Cummings, Cummings would say, yes, I remain committed. So that tells me something. This is not about individual interest or glorification. And to the issue that your previous caller spoke of earlier, talking about Yartoe supported Dillon. Look, let me tell you something. Until you can catch a fish, you should never stop fishing. Okay? Yartoe supported Dillon. I supported Dillon. Am I happy about Dillon's activities or his actions today? No. And that's the reason why some of us erected the needed checkpoints from the day it was announced that Dillon was considered a winner. We came up and said this is the time that we will start to hold Dillon accountable. And even Yartoe and other people thought that we were doing wrong. But today, it is proven that our decision was only to prove that Liberians, we are more reactive than proactive. But thank God, gradually we are making our way there and we are literally seeing the odds. So hopefully going forward, we will make rational decisions in the interest of Liberia and not in the interest of our pockets and other things that have to do with it. Dillon have proven to be contrary to what several other people think, but that is not the end of the world. Just like George Weah have proven to be the worst of us, we cannot say we will not have ourselves presidents in our country anymore. Going forward, we should just leave the country just empty. We have to make sure we get that right person to represent the people of Liberia. Now, let me ask Mr. Yartoe this question. Mr. Yartoe, my question to you. You spoke of Mr. Boakai and his consistent excuses. He squandered this, they squandered opportunities, and then he ended up, and people are concerned about his age. If and only if those are the two concerns that you have, don't you think then there isn't anything to really worry about? Because that tells me that when one squandered opportunity, they can also have second chance and they can make things better. And if age is the only concern for your camp, then you are leaning on the broken stick. Can you address that concern for me, Mr. Yartoe?
Thank you, Lofa.
And you know what? I want to thank you to Lofa in this public manner. Lofa has been a warrior. You know, one thing about me is that to make things better, you gotta have people with different view. Lofa is a guy who brings that viewpoint to the table. And while we may disagree on some, overall, I think the need for change and for a good leadership, we agree upon that. And I think the methods we can work on. Let me tell you something. If there was no Cummings in the race, then I would say yes. Let's give a guy a chance who was squandered. You are surmising that there's no other person there. So let's just keep sticking. The same excuse can be made with George Weah. George Weah will say, I squandered, I stole the first term, just give me another term. I'm saying to you, there is a clear alternative based on both parties. So why would I want to give somebody a chance when I have a clear alternative? If there was no alternative, then I would say, Lofa, you are right. Let's give him a second chance, a third chance, and maybe this time he may not squander, but you'll just misplace. I'm saying to you, your children's future, not you, you are set, you're good to go. But your kids' future, the future of your relatives and friends, they can't experiment the second time when you have a clear alternative like Cummings. So I'm saying to you, we will move ahead, we'll move on. Age has nothing to do with it. It's a person who was given the opportunity to change people's life, and he didn't. And I don't think it's fair to mind people in the village in Bassau or in Riverside that have no hope. Remember, the high school in Riverside has never been able to graduate more than 50 kids in Riverside. Only Madam Salif.
All right.
Facility has never been able to work for our people. So why would I not want to give somebody else a chance? And Cummings is that chance that we need.
Thank you, Mr. Tola. Go back to the phone lines. Caller, go ahead. Caller with phone number ending in 8133. Go ahead. I think it's a Minnesota number. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for giving me the opportunity to voice my opinion. Mr. Yartoe, sorry if I didn't pronounce your name well.
What's your name? What's your name, sir? And his name is Mr. Yartoe.
I'm Ruben Gemma. I'm calling from Minnesota.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Yartoe, thank you for your deliberation. And I just want to warn Liberians, let them listen to you because you know the fight. We said this during 2017 election time, and the people came out to say Georgia was the right candidate for Liberia. We told them this was a mistake. Everybody said, Mother Zikwe said this, Mother Zikwe said that Georgia, an innocent person was going to marry who had liberated Liberia. Rather than liberating Liberia, his presidency has merged Liberia into the mud. So today, people are castigating Cummings because he acquired work and education from the work. And this is wrong. Look at the people in the ring. Look at their leadership. Serving as vice president during early time or during all of the time Joseph Boakai served as whoever. He didn't do anything. Everybody still complain. So why is he going to do when he is old and sleeping at this time? When you say that if you're thinking about the future, Alexander Cummings is the future, I'm saying with you, brother, they are making mistake again. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much. That caller didn't have a question, so let me bring in the next caller here. Joseph Conto. Go ahead, Joe.
Good evening, Mr. Sieh. Thank you for taking my call, and good evening to the guest, Mr. Yartoe. Mr. Yartoe, my question to you is that is twofold. This coming election, what do you think this election will be all about? Is it going to be about the economy or maybe agriculture or something like that? And two, if Mr. Cummings was to become president today, what would be the first thing that he would take to be the forefront of his presidency? Thank you, sir, for taking my.
All right, Mr. Toh, please, if you can write it down, that'll be fine. Let me take the next one, and you can answer the 2%. Let me bring in Jimmy Eastman. Jimmy, go ahead.
Hey, Ansony, how are you?
Doing well.
Very good. Mr. Yartoe, thank you for coming on the platform, and I appreciate your deliberation, especially you speaking for our people who both have heritage from Pastor and Riverside. But I have a question for you, sir. With the ongoings in the CPP today, where they are at loggerheads with between Cummings and Boakai, what do you see the possibility of him successfully winning the CPP nomination, given that they got big guns on the Boakai side and people who are sworn to not allow Cummings to win? How do you see him going through? I'll take my call from my answer off the air.
Thank you, Jimmy. Mr. Toh, you can take that.
You know what? The first caller talked about 2023 and what 2023 was going to be about. Like I've always said, it will be about change, because the change that we all sought for, the change for hope that George we have brought. He didn't bring hope for change, but he brought change for hope. Like people will say, we need something different that will work this time here, something that will guarantee us success through jobs creation. And I think that is the platform that we will work from. I've said to you that if we're not serious about corruption, we can't go anywhere. And who is better to lead that fight when understand he has no relationships with the parties? You know, Madam Sally said something profound during her second term. She said, my Liberian people, they always complain, you must do this, you must do that. As soon as somebody steals money and I'm ready to punish that person, they will come and say, oh, cousin, this day, I beg you, just let him go. Cummings is not from that culture. He's from a culture where you can't steal. You steal anything from that culture there, they will lock you up. And I think it is more believable if he tells me that he will put in mechanism, the court system, the Justice Department, Justice Ministry that will really prosecute corruption, and I believe in the most. CPP squabble. Oh man, this politics. It is not child's play. The CPP did not merge. The CPP collaborated. Nigeria kept his party. Nyombi Kanga kept her party. Joseph Boakai kept his, and Cummings kept his. They were just collaborating. You don't expect them to be nice. If it was that easy, they could have done it like Ellen did in 2009. We saw here that Ellen is the candidate, everybody else a supporter. That would have been easier. But they said, we will sign a collaboration agreement that if we do not agree in a consensus, we will go to a convention. What's hard to believe? And in the convention, why do you think the guy was a delegate from ALP? What would I have to tell him that would make him to vote for Cummings? I would have to distinguish Cummings from Boakai. That's what we're doing. No insults. We're stating the facts. And I think if you stay away from the personal attacks that some people normally would do, and just stick to the issue, I'm saying that when you talk about corruption, you cannot receive operational funds for 12 years and you think you're going to fight corruption. George Weah will just throw that right back in your face and say, you cannot receive special projects. And you say George Weah is not putting his name on everything. George Weah said, about you receive that same special project. So my George Weah project is my project. You had a Boakai project. We just didn't see what you did with your project money. But for me, I'm putting the transformer. I'm buying t-shirts. I'm buying food. So I'm saying to you, it's a normal process. What we need, though, is a commitment from the 4 political parties that whoever is determined to be the winner, that person must be supported and no hard feelings. You can't say because Cummings wins, I will not support it. Cummings has said unequivocally that he will support 100% Joseph Boakai. And I think that's what's important.
Thank you, Mr. Tole. Go back to the phone line. Caller with phone number ending in 3007 on the WhatsApp number. Go ahead. Your name and where you joining us from. Caller, go ahead.
You mean 3309 or 3307?
3307.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sieh. How are you doing, sir?
Doing well. Your name?
Yes, my name is Prince Williams, and I'm calling from Tennessee, the volunteer state.
I hear you.
Yeah, I listened to, first of all, thank you very much, Focus on Liberia, because you're one of the premier platform that also diversify your work. You speak on politics, economics, and other things. I was listening to your last show about the budget. Mm-hmm. The guy you have on this is a brilliant job, and it's because of you guys. You guys really push the issue. So I really thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And I see the in your caption, mm-hmm. I see there also a number there to make donations. So I will try to commit myself to make donation, so they have to enhance and facilitate this effort that you guys are undertaking. Okay.
Thank you.
And my concern here, before my question to Mr. Yartoe, is on two things. I noticed that people asking Mr. Yartoe to give publish a budget, a budgetary report as to the initiative that the Friends of Dillon undertook to have Dillon elected. Well, I was one of the contributors, and one of those who I never knew Dillon from anywhere. I heard about him, but Mr. Yartoe reached out to me and he called me personally and told me that Mr. Gaiman introduced Mr. Dillon to him. So Mr. Yartoe reached out to me and asked me that Dillon, he explained to me that Yartoe is an ideologue, somebody who believes in certain things in ideology. And he always liked to push the ideology, and he believed that Dillon volunteer himself to be the light in the darkness of the Senate and the legislature body. So he asked me to help him to advance that financially, also morally too. And I did committed myself to that. But what people don't understand, that Dillon campaign was a multifaceted campaign. Friends of Dillon was just one arm, one of the mechanisms And during the process, I don't know if you're following or you're part of those who are donating, because sometimes people who don't give a damn like to always ask the question. But during the process, Mr. Yartoe gave what you call a progressive financial report. All the time on Friends of Dillon meeting, he gave a progressive report. And even at the conclusion of the election when Dillon won, he also gave a conclusive report. And I got my report. I'm happy with how everything went. And I'm glad I know that Mr. Yartoe is...
Are you saying you have copy of the report, Prince?
I'm sorry?
Are you saying you have copy of the progressive report the way you term it? Do you have copy?
Yeah, but I'm a United Man donor. I don't publish my donation to campaign. It's not enough for public review.
Can you share it with us here? We're not disclose it to the public. We just want to be sure there was a report.
Yeah, there was a report. Are you not believing what Mr. Mr. Yartoe said that there was a report?
All right, go ahead, Prince. Make your case. There are a lot of callers waiting. Go ahead.
Second thing is that Mr. Yartoe, you coming on board with the Cummings campaign, and you do know that I supported Cummings in 2017 because I believe that he was the better of all the options. I even supported Joseph Boakai in 2017 when between he and George Weah because I feel Joseph Boakai was the best option. And that's how I work. I'm now partisan. I'm now a member of the ANC. I'm now partisan affiliated as you are too. And we function within the realm of ideology. We believe that Liberia deserves better and that we have to move 18th century Liberia into the 21st century leadership. And I think Alexander Cummings within the CPP is a better option. And the reason I feel he's a better option because he seems to be the only person making his case, going and explaining his idea and what he want to do for the country. But my problem I have here, Mr. Yartoe, and I'm glad you're on board. There has been a struggle with the ANC to be able to sell Cummings, to make Cummings to be connected with the people, to have the same thing that Dillon had. So this is a tale of two cities. Dillon connected with the people, but he didn't have the money. You were there, you made sure he raised the money for him, you made sure you sell him, and you let the people know that he was going to commit himself to shining the light of which Dillon did. Now Cummings has the money, but he doesn't seem to have the connectivity with the people. I see he's going out there recently now and he's connecting with the people. Are you going to do the same thing that you did to Dillon by getting Dillon to go into all the bad ways and the sad ways and connecting and talking to the people directly, hearing from the people and explaining to the people what his vision is and what he wants to do? Are you going to do that, number one? And secondly, the host asked you a question, important question. It seems that the collaboration, there has been a faction within the collaboration, but here's the thing. It seems that two or maybe let me say two now because we don't know what Liberty Party stands. Two of the faction seems to be ganging up against Alexander Cummings. So in the event that it becomes three parties ganging up against him, and they want to read the narrative of the CPP that in the way that it will see that Cummings is the trouble person, what is the option? Will Cummings still commit to the fact that if he is being pushed out, because I think Henry Costa is saying that Cummings can leave if he wants to leave, and Bernard Yuri's daughter is saying that Cummings can leave, even Yuri says that Cummings can leave. Boakai has fallen short of saying that, but he has come out to say that in a parable way. If everybody wants Cummings to leave and they don't want Cummings to be part of the CPP, will Cummings continue to still stay on? Thank you very much.
Thank you,
very
Prince.
much, Sieh. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Prince, and I like Prince a whole lot because, like Prince said, he puts his money where his mouth is. And when we start learning as Liberians, my father used to say something, Anthony. He who provides the bullet for the hunter will always get the leg of the deer. And Prince is that guy who provides the bullet for the hunter. If you create a candidate.
So he got a copy of the report?
Yes, I got a copy of the report.
What's about Ansony Sieh? The media.
I'll look there and see whether you put more in the pot. Then I can see. But
I never contributed. I don't contribute to people who are fake. Go ahead.
Okay. So the question now is, what will ABC do to reach the people? My role is to assist, like many others. I think I said before that in the last 2 or 3 weeks, you've seen ABC has now taken a different. Every campaign is run separately. what may have been appropriate in 2017 as a newcomer, it is not what is appropriate now. So I think the outreach will be a little bit different than it was. He's doing a better job. Is there ways to go? Absolutely. But I do believe that our first goal is to have him elected as candidate for the CPP as the candidate for representing CPP in the general elections. And there's a different strategy. This strategy is not the guy in River says only 3% from River will be voting per district. 6. It's not going to be, where you have all the River voting or all the sign of voting. The only few people from each political party will come to vote. My goal is to reach out to those people and say, look, this is our vision for change. And I think when it's all said and done, that the vision of ABC will reach our people more than Boakai would. So I'm not deterred by the squabble in the CPP. That's part of the process.
All right, but he has a very important question. The way he portrayed it is like the others don't want him there. I mean, he's forced to be there.
I told you what really got me into Cummings is he's a man of his word. Cummings said, I will sacrifice my own personal vision, my own personal position, and I'll go to the end. And the thing is, I will stay in. Remember now, if you leave the CPP arrangement, you are not eligible. So let me tell you something. Why don't they leave? Have you asked that question? If you say that
I have asked that question too, but I'm still asking the question.
Look, if Boakai has the numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has the popularity.
Mm-hmm.
That means he can win by himself, and Cummings is nobody. He can say, look, to help with all of you guys, I'm going on my own. Why don't he do that?
Okay.
Nobody doesn't have a candidate, and ALP doesn't have a candidate. Mm-hmm. It's only 2%. He has said repeatedly, I have more name recognition, I have more connections, I have all the votes, I can win. Why would you want a guy who cannot win? Just say, I'm leaving.
Thank you. Let me bring in Joe Moyo. Joe, let me hear you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Sieh, as sure as usual. Thanks to Mr. Yartoe for connecting the dots regarding Cummings' candidacy. Let's face it, we as Liberians, whether we know it or not, now we should be tired of the status quo candidates. And especially ones that represent the 20th century. We need somebody with a 21st century vision. And as I've said it before on your show, when I was a guest, I believe that Mr. Cummings, he embodies all we need for the 21st century. As you look at his track record, in fact, I was just reading about him yesterday in one of the business books I've got, how he took, when Coca-Cola was in Africa, they had probably about 1,500 employees. When Cummings went to Lagos in South Africa, and when he left, he retired from Coca-Cola, it had 75,000 employees. I hope you all, the people in Liberia listening to this show, when he went, they had about 2,500 or so. When he left, and it was all because his vision, his strategy, in some cases, his risk-taking, because one aspect that really, that really embodies the man as not only a leader, but somebody who's willing to take managed risk. But when he went into Angola during the Civil War, and Coca-Cola, the board of directors, were telling him, no, we can't go to Angola. They're killing each other. All our competitors are running out. Somebody said, that's why we need to go there. This country has too many assets that at one point they will put their guns down and we can benefit. And guess what happened? Guess what Cummings said? That guess what happened in Angola? Today, one of Coca-Cola's most profitable businesses in Africa It's in Angola, thanks to Alice Cummings. So that said, my fear is that the ANC, and let me just say it out loud, I'm not a member of any political party, but my fear is
but you support Cummings.
But I support Cummings.
All right.
I'm not a member of any political party, but I support Cummings. And my fear is that he is not being marketed by the ANC. They're not doing a good enough job. They're supposed to have this man a profile in all the languages, in all 15 counties, an aggressive marketing campaign, because we cannot let Joe Boakai, because of popularity, go there, and then we start, then the definition of insanity starts again, doing the same thing over and over. Because all Boakai is telling us that, well, he will bring in about incremental development. No, we don't want that. All we need now is breakthrough development in Liberia, nothing but increment. Because when he's going back to a poverty reduction strategy, something that doesn't work. And what is the poverty reduction strategy? Okay, the man got a lot of farmer, you gave me a dollar farmer, okay, so you increase it. Well, we're looking for somebody that will come and talk in terms of setting up a commodities market.
All right.
Set up a commodities market where the farmers from all over can come, who can services, and sell their produce. That's what we want, and that's what Cummings will bring. Because that's the background he comes from.
All right,
Joe. He comes from an institution. Boakai never operated in an institution before. The institution he worked in were all broken and corrupt.
Thank you, Joe.
So that's my say.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so very much, Joe Monyu. Mr. Yartoe, let's bring in those who are writing comments. Let's recognize them too, so that we can be on the good side here. Let's hear from Emmanuel Woods. There you go with your divisive position. Liberia can only be developed by Liberians at home and abroad, while other African nations are embracing dual citizenship. You guys stating in a simple and non-strategic way, welcome to globalization. By the way, Emmanuel's ancestors are Bassa like me. There's no such thing as an ex-Bassa citizen. I think this person is responding to somebody who said that you are an American citizen, and that's something I think you have to address, Mr. Toe. That comes to know. River says pro, yeah, Emmanuel Yartoe is very proactive. He's not just a passive supporter. But yes, from Vincent, Mr. Yartoe, you are not important to our politics. You are an American, and you can vote, in Liberia. So what your importance to our country? Maybe he meant to say you cannot vote in Liberia. You people are the problem for our country. Let's hear from Emmanuel Woods. Dillon was all air. I think the person trying to say, or it's a liar or something. He is an opportunist. He is no light. He got a fat job. Let's hear from Ruth Rabo Anekponga. I hope I got it right. Congratulations, Mr. Indigenous Liberian. What got me with the language? I just want you to know, once a Liberian is always a Liberian. That person wrote. Let's hear from Prince here. Prince, right? I made a contribution through the Friends of Dillon. I got my report and goal was accomplished. I'm happy with my report. Tim Prince said that. Let's hear from Dennis here. Thank you very much, Mr. Yartoe, for your decision to differ with Dillon. That we all that you were, I don't know, making mistake yet. Gentlemen, please take your time to write your comments. We value your time here so that we can read it, so that what you say can be heard. Emmanuel Yartoe, why do Liberians who have naturalized in America obtain visa before going to Liberia, but now you're telling Liberians that Cummings holding an American passport should be president of Liberia? That is something, Mr. Toe, you need to address. Let's hear from Vin Bessie. Ansony, thank you for your service. Also, I want you to continue being a free position, and I will remain a free position. Let's hear from this person from our YouTube channel. Nonsense. If no system has worked in Liberia, then where did you get your education? Mr. Toe, that is a challenge there. You said you are a son of an engineer. You went to, I think, a mission school there, and I think the system was working. So this person is saying, pretty much you are in a contradiction. Let me bring in, let's see, from Ambassador ROC Nigeria, River says Pro. Wow, how many recycling plants are there in West Africa? Coca-Cola refused to use a biodegradable plastic bottle. Their bottles are piling up in landfills and impacting the environment. Let's hear from Sam Wallow, and Adam follow-up, focus on Liberia. At this point, the current reality in the CPP is there is one party railing against the other. 3, mathematically, the outcome seems pretty clear. Mr. Toe, is the outcome pretty clear? And please respond to the comments.
But I don't know what he called railing. We have an agreement. The agreement doesn't say that you should agree to everybody at all times. It says that if there's no consensus, then we move on to the convention. That is what is written. And I think Cummings has abided by that to the T. He said, I'm going to go to convention. As you know, 2 of the 4 political parties have expressed interest. So we are going to go to the convention. Folks, the Constitution is very clear. To become president of Liberia, you must be natural born. Okay? And the Supreme Court has spoken. Once a Liberian, always a Liberian. Oh, by the way, I'm a resident for 30 years. I go to Liberia 3, 4, 5 times. So I think they have in my records in Liberia. So I'm not somebody who will hide from things. But Cummings was born, raised in Liberia. Nobody has proven otherwise. He's eligible. He voted 1 time. But let's not do this personal attack. Do you think that Cummings' citizenship is what's depriving Maine in Riverside of having only 1 high school that can barely function? When I say a functioning society, a functioning system, I went to inline mission that had only about 100 kids. Look, Anthony, the tuition was $15. Do you know that many of those kids couldn't afford $15? You had to take a tin of palm oil all the way to the Timor Bridge to sell. If you went in the market, women from Buchanan didn't come, you have to take it back. It takes about 2 weeks to cut a tin if you just drop everything. I know what hardship is. I'm saying the system was never good. When I went to Riverside in 1977, there were no schools. There were no high school. Doe was the one who built the first high school, the Cecil High you see today. Today, on a Boakai, the Cecil High is still the Cecil High. It didn't build any extra high schools. The missionaries supported us. It's not a system. The system is owned by the government, not by private individuals, like he's talking about. No, we've done things so long, so bad that it becomes natural. When you go to Liberia today, from the airport to the churches, from the mosques to the marketplace, nothing functions very well. But you know what I mean? When you do it so long, you get yourself to believing that it's the right thing to do. That's the reason why when you go to a typical office for a simple document, they will tell you, say, don't bring that American thing to us. But the same people, as soon as they get on that plane and they arrive at the airport in France, they behave. Let me tell you the fun. When you leave from here, you go to Liberia. Watch the behavior of Liberians when they're in that plane up to France. As soon as they hit the airspace in Monrovia, they become different persons. And you say, wow, there's something wrong with the system. That a guy who can behave himself very well in Washington, D.C. or Minnesota, and in France, when the immigration officer said, yeah, give me a passport, he has no question, just hand it to him. Put your hand back here. But as soon as he gets to Roberts International Airport, and the guy said, where's the passport? I mean, what do you want a passport for? Oh, you didn't say that when you're in New York. You didn't say that when you're in France. But a guy right at the airport said, where's the passport? And you're trying to insult him? I'm saying to you, there's no system. And until we believe within ourselves that we can correct that, we won't move an inch. And I still believe that Cummings is the best choice we have to move that 1 inch. He will build the foundation. He will not build a house. Understand, the guy will lay the brick. It's not the guy who put the roof on. The guy who lay the brick for the house is necessarily not the guy who will build the roof, because a carpenter that builds the roof.
We will take our final caller. Lofa, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Sieh. Thanks for bringing me back on. And I was hoping that Mr. Yartoe would not have answered, would not. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Lofa.
Oh, okay. I was hoping that Mr. Yartoe would not have responded to the comment about system. But since Mr. Yartoe responded to the comment about system, where you educated people, you always complicate things. I think I'm going to still respond to it in my little man train of thoughts.
Okay.
A system that works is not one that only succeed for a period of time, couple of days, and then it crumbles. A system that works, as Mr. Yartoe is trying to speak to, is one that may encounter errors, all right, but can build on those errors and make things better. Can you say there have been a system in Liberia that have worked to the point where you can say, okay, we started in 1960, we got here, and then as of the 70s, we started falling back. Then from the 70s, we got back here, and then we started to pick up from that point, and now this is where we are. But we can tell you, based on reference, this is the foundation, this is where we get. Unfortunately, no. So he's right. The system does not exist until we can build one from a foundation of a mindset of people like you and I, who understand that when the light is red, we are not to drive through the lights. We cannot succeed in what we want to do. Now, with that said, I just want to throw this out there, and I'm done. I told a couple Unity Party members, a lot of you on here who follow Lofa and Talk Liberia, the platform, you will understand that 2017, I shall put it, Mr. Boakai, and I'm coming to you today to tell you, okay, one of the biggest wounds in Mr. Boakai's leg today is the addition of the same Henry Custard who said that he was a dead man. Okay, he had no addition to bring to the table. And because of that, Mr. Boakai cannot serve in any capacity in Liberia. I'm surprised that I did not hear Mr. Yartoe elaborate on that. But again, I understand they are all in one collaboration or marriage right now. So Mr. Yartoe not trying to take shot at his buddy or his brother. But I want to see what become of this entire process when and if Mr. Cummings is selected to serve as the standard bearer. And Custard said he vowed to support the CPP. How then will he present his messages to the Liberian people? Because yesterday you told us Boakai was the bad guy. Today you presented him as a good guy. Yesterday we heard you say Cummings is a foreigner. As a matter of fact, he was only successful at Coca-Cola because he's a black man. An insult to you, Mr. Sieh, an insult to Mr. Yartoe and every other young Liberian, black, okay, with that pigment of skin, that color of skin, to even come out here. Costa was brave enough to insult all of us. Now, should we still believe he'll come tomorrow when he says, or if Mr. Cummings wins that that position to serve as the leader of the CPP? Yeah. Should we still believe Costa if he comes back and say, Mr. Cummings is the right person, Mr. Yartoe, Mr. Sieh, and every other Liberian? I want us to ask ourselves this question. Should we still consider these things or these comments as something that we should encourage in our community, in our society? Mr. Yartoe, I will appreciate if you can address this concern for me. Will you guys still be brave other people to sell to us Mr. Cummings as the best person to lead us? Thank you.
So Anthony,
go ahead.
In politics, there's an idea that you struggle to a battlefront, and after you should have won, you need to bring about reconciliation. When you're asking for people to campaign for you, there are various ways to get campaign. You know the beauty of the Dillon campaign? Dillon had a lot of opponents within the CPP. But you know what they didn't do? They didn't come to openly criticize him. They didn't support him openly, but they didn't come out to openly criticize him. So I think it'll be incumbent upon Cummings to reach out to people because you need everybody's support. Those who were angry because their side didn't win, you will need them. And I think Cummings is that type of person that knows how to reach out. Everybody has criticized Cummings one time or the other. He is still reaching out to people. As you see now, I'm a former seditious. I said to about a former seditious. So if a guy who can hire two former seditious, you know he got to be a guy who really know how to reach out to people. I'm saying Cummings has the ability to build a team that will be unified, and we have 1 year to prepare for George Weah. And all of this squabbling and all of this hatred, it's just, people are trying to support their sides. What is important, though, that the leadership of the parties must support that ticket. They can't say that, oh, I lost the election because they cheated, so therefore you can decide on your own. This will be about the CPP challenging President Weah head on, and that message should be one message. So I want to thank Lofa and everybody else who have said that Cummings is doing a better job at reaching out. I think in the next coming months, you will see Cummings in every community. The strategy is to see how we can reach to our people who 70% cannot function literally. So we need to reach out to them in whatever means. And I think Cummings is ready for the tasks. Cummings is going to go village to village. You're going to go town to town to propagate that message of change. So I want to say thank you to the guests for all they've done. And the change we're looking for in 2023 is embodied in the guide called ABC.
Mr. Toe, we want to say thank you so very much for honoring our invitation. We know how busy you are. I've seen you here and there, and you are trying to make the case for your candidate. But our job here is to always ask the hard questions and give that same opportunity to Liberians who are concerned about the direction of our country to ask those of you who are in this business of finding for us or taking the lead role in finding a leadership for our country. We want to say thank you for coming. So this is what we want you to do for us. I know you said Cummings is the guy. Let's come to judgment. And that's what I want you to close on. What judgment call that you think Cummings can make when it comes to the future of Liberia, for which you are closing, that you think Liberian can count on, that I want you to close with? Go ahead, sir.
Well, I said two things. When I was proposed to Cummings to help out, there were a lot of naysayers who said that I was not the right person to come and assist. Cummings told me that while I may listen to everybody, ultimately the decision has to be mine because we are leader. The box will stop right at their doorsteps. When Cummings tells me that he will honor the CPP pact, that's a judgment call that very few Liberian politicians can do. They do not honor the word. That's the reason why you can see them shifting from party to party or from interest to interest. A guy was against you today, as soon as the condition changes, without the philosophy behind it changing, it switches. A guy who is stable, who is focused, who is disciplined, that is the guy that will take us into the 21st century and beyond. A guy who is exposed to international business. Is a guy that will give us that respect we need so that when we are ready to negotiate with partners, we have an equal benefit. The judgment of joining the CPP, looking back now, is the right thing. You know why? Because it's something like a primary. I think we have a convoluted process where you had about 4 or 5 strong people on the ballot. They tend to wash each other out. The CPP, if you look now than back, it was a better collaboration. And thanks to Councillor Bronskin for thinking this far step ahead, that look, we need to compete among ourselves. So all this process of who's popular, who's not popular, and who has a message will be put laid to rest. So that when we come up with a unified candidate, it will become almost like a 2-party system. In Nigeria, they have 40 political parties, 50, but only 2 parties participate. In Ghana, in Ivory Coast, everywhere in Africa now, they are moving towards 2 strong institutions that people support. The CPP, I hope that after everything is said and done, will find within itself the need to merge so that we have one voice. But for the time being, we're satisfied with going to convention, and we are trying to elect who the representative will be on the ticket. And I hope that after it's all said and done, all of us will support that person to victory in 2023.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Toe. Again, we can't thank you enough for honoring our invitation. Folks in cyberspace who commented, those who call and ask questions, and also they have questions, but also made a comment when they call. We appreciate you. This is Focus on Liberia. We educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We will now close our broadcast with our usual song, We Are All Liberians. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye, folks.
We are Liberians.